Hey everyone. Hi Aries. Alright, anyone new to Opal Oracle, welcome. So nice to have you. And anyone returning, hi there. Alright, the sun just came out. It's probably going to get too hot. What are you going to do? Now, I did the same spread that I did in October. For those of you who were here, we got like a want, not we got like. Did I need to? There are 5 cards. One represents what you want. One represents what you need. There's a helping, a hindering, an advice, if you will, or a result. We also have an overarching energy, which you happen to have the 10 of Cups, which I like that this is an arching sort of energy anyhow. Okay. I also chose one card from the Mary L. Tarot. You received the 2 of Wands in reverse. You see, this is kind of a dark path. A lot of times it's about having, not being in a position of not being afraid to be able to go into this space. But with it in the reverse, it shows me that you're not as afraid anymore. Okay. Now, Libra, which actually came before you, I'm doing opposites. I did Capricorn, Cancer, now Libra, then you're the 4th sign, actually, that's the Emperor. They also received in their need position the 2 of Cups, okay? Obviously, you can always learn from your opposite sign, but specifically with that, I would say that they have a message for you. Now, I see that you could have kind of like mood swings for a lot of you during this time, okay? It's important for you to keep that kind of in check. For those of you who drink, that could be part of it that makes you a little moody. Or maybe you want to get off, like blow off a little steam in that way. Of course, see this with your own discretion to what's appropriate and what's not appropriate for you. And don't eat that hornet, Zumi. That's not very smart. But either way, whether you do or don't, I do see a bit of moodiness, okay? And what's really important and what you need during this time is for you to be positive, okay? And if you keep that positivity, then that will help others feel that positive influence, okay? It's important for you to make plans, okay? And whoever it is that's around you will follow you if you prove that you are honest and energetic about it, right? Like if that is this is what you want too, like you want this kind of joyous, celebratory, like excited achievement, that you're because you're waiting for some sort of achievement. You're in what is to achieve something, but we complete something, right? Something is where it's in a position now that we can celebrate it. We're like, yes, that happened. I put in the time, the energy. I kept positive about it. I kept my forward focus about it. The energy attached to that. This is what I want. This is what. Because deep down you knew that was something that you needed, and what you want is for that to stay, I heard, with you emotionally. And if that is what you want, then you have to take really good care of that. And I sense for you, you have to take really good care of it, whatever it is in your life, emotionally. But you have this sort of emotional swing happening in a way during this time. It could just be day to day. Like, again, you could just be sort of moody. Maybe there's, because what's sort of helping, this is what's helping you, which it's interesting. I'm seeing this as the body. So it's kind of like, maybe you're starting to realize, like, as we get older, we either, sometimes when we don't like something when we're a kid, say like some particular kind of food, or maybe we even had like an allergy of sorts to something when we were a kid, but then when we become older and you grow out of it, right? Your tastes change, right? So it's about knowing and checking in. I heard there's two things here. There's one about checking in to anything that you don't like now, that is just something that you haven't liked for a long time, and you're still, when someone says, hey, do you want to try this, you'd be like, oh no, I don't like that, but you haven't tried it in a really long time, right? Like a kid, you know what I mean? You try to give them something that's not plain and simple, and they're just like something different, and some kids don't like that, right? There's something about change. I also see that there could be something where, like, maybe you eat something and then you're like, oh, that isn't for my body anymore, you know? Like, as an example, one time in my life, I had an experience, and the next day I was like, I want a huge, like, friggin' medium rare burger with cheddar cheese and bacon and all this stuff, and it would have been something that I've eaten throughout my life, and I made it myself at home, and I tried to get this, like, organic, whatever, meat, and, when I tried to even cook it, when I smelled it, it made me nauseous. Like, I was like, oh my God, this is rotten. I could tell that the meat was rotten. You know what I mean? So there's something about maybe your taste just changed. And knowing that maybe some things that you ingest in your body actually affect your mood swings. You know, maybe you drink too much coffee, or maybe you drink too much alcohol, for those of you who do, or maybe, you know, you're eating junk food, or maybe you need more green things, you know. I see it's really, 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 when you go into the spaces of being kind of low energy, low emotionally, there's no wands here either, except for the Two of Wands in reverse. Maybe you're not getting enough exercise, but I feel like you're not supposed to, in a way. Like, you know, because you can sweat and, like, raise your heart rate by just sitting and breathing, right? Like, there's certain yoga practices where you don't even have to do anything physical, like Jivamukti or something. I mean, of course, that's like compass and all that crazy stuff, which I love, but, you know, you don't have to do gymnastics to be physical, right? Maybe, you know, if you're really centered in your body, you can do a lot with that. Something about that, Aries. Very interesting. I can't emphasize enough how important this is, how it's so, the importance of being positive, okay? About knowing, like what are the plans that we're in Libra season, it's your opposite season, it's one-on-one relationships. What are the plans that you're making with the people that you really care about? Okay? And how excited are you for that? I heard don't ignore your sadness either, okay? This is the knight in shining armor too, and he's looking right over at this. You know, he's like, this is the result. Like, it's like someone coming to, like, save the day. Now, of course, this could be an external person. It's not your energy, but it's also just you being more in charge and logical, right? Using the mental realm, the air realm, about it. Because although this is Pentacles, this can also be very emotional, right? Because there's kind of like all this positivity, and then there's a chunk of fear in the center, and it's what's helping and what's hindering you. So just sort of looking at that logically, like, okay, maybe you got to check in with yourself and be like, am I afraid of anything? And if you are afraid of something, like, where does that really come from? Because I don't sense that most of our fears are not our own. They're either given to us through propaganda, television, one second, movies, whatever, you know, advertisements on YouTube, our parents, our ancestors, astrological, karmic situations we have to work through. But, oh, that breeze is so nice. You know, but just checking in, I guess, and knowing that some things, it's like, what's a logical fear and what's not. And we have to think back, like, way back. You know, as an example, I don't know why I want to tell you this, but I guess it's important, just something to think about. So today I was just like, does a kid have to have a birth certificate? Because technically, since 1933, the United States government sold, they made people, like your every person, they sold it to the Federal Reserve, and basically you're technically dead. And it's really fucked up, actually. And you don't really own who you are. You're kind of a company, and they make money off of that. And it's sad because a lot of people don't even have enough to do what's basic, you know, beyond what's really basic. Like putting gas in their car, getting to work, putting food on the table, you know, in maybe mild, small journeying here and there. But the point is that I was just like, do you need a birth certificate? And I'm thinking back, like, dude, obviously, like, let's say the Cherokee, they didn't have a birth certificate when someone was born. You know what I mean? Like, why is that? And then I found out in 1969 is when in the States you had to have the Birth and Death Certificate Act was enacted. Which in essence really wasn't that long ago. So, anyway, it's kind of like, there's a lot of, I just sense that there's a lot of fear tactics that are put forth, and it's really important for you to keep your mind and your emotions in order about that, okay? And be positive about where it is that you are, and know that the natural will always overcome the unnatural. The good will always overcome the evil, okay? The more good people are, the more people pray to God, the less people that are praising the darker forces or wanting negative things for the world, for others, will diminish because more people are praying for the good. Does that make sense? And not just praying for ourselves, but praying for all things, right? And I heard every single law, this is very interesting, Aries, every single law that is out there does not necessarily need to be abided to, and the reason why most of them, not all of them, but most of them are there is to restrict people from the freedoms of choosing for themselves. And it's important to know whether we have an option in that or not, because a lot of people do things just because they're told. You know? They don't have any, people don't question things. They put people in a position of, someone who's technically in a position of authority, well then they're in a position of authority, and most people either feel like they're not entitled to ask any questions or you know, question that by any means. There's something going on with Uranus too, so, and with Mercury and Scorpio, it's important, particularly this week, is like, you know, sometimes it's going to cause you to be kind of rebellious, but then it's also like, how do we go about this in a logical kind of way, right? Because sometimes questioning authority can be really revolutionizing in what it is that we can choose, but obviously you don't want to go, if you go against everything, then you're going to feel too alone in it. So I guess you got to pick and choose what's appropriate and when it's appropriate and whose rules are you following, and really, what are your plans to put you in a better position of feeling safe and loved and protected, right? You, your family, etc. I also see that if you put more attention into something too, this is also what's helping you. So this could be something that needs to have attention put into it. Like, again, like, what are you, if there's anything you're afraid of, or you feel like you feel stuck in, well, there's no need to, you just have to be willing to face it. Because it's not as scary as you think that it is. Okay? You know, in this reading too, I feel like it's gotten sunny, and then it's kind of shady, and then it's sunny, and then it's shady. This goes back to that sort of emotional space of it going back and forth, okay? And just kind of letting it be. Like, I feel like we talked about some lighthearted things, and then we just got in, you know, and discussed deeper topics of what have you, and now we're back here to this kind of middle ground. So sort of just flowing with it, and then maybe also paying attention to what it is that you're communicating about, and how does that affect your day-to-day. Okay? All right. Lastly, we're going to pick from the Warrior of Light. I haven't read this book. I've also never pronounced this last name. I've never heard anyone say it, but it's the gentleman, Mr. Paulo, who wrote The Alchemist. So my friend Danielle sent me this book. It's a really beautiful book. My sister and I were just talking about this 2 new books. Sister, this is a good one. It's lightweight, and it's got really nice paper too. They're like raw edges. It's well done. I like this pretty blue too. It's mellow. Alright, Aries. Oh, there's a butterfly on the flower. Okay. It says, the Warrior of Light has the qualities of a rock. When he is on flat terrain, everything around him is in harmony, and he is stable. People can build their houses upon him, and the storm will not destroy them. When, however, he is placed on a slope, and the things around him show neither balance nor respect, then he reveals his strength. He rolls towards the enemy that is threatening his peace. At such moments, the warrior is a devastating force, and no one can stop him. A warrior of the light thinks both about war and peace, and knows how to act in accordance with the circumstances. So I see this goes back to this kind of the swing I was talking about, okay? Sometimes, again, you will feel very grounded and stable, and everything's fine and golden, and nothing can bring you down. And then other times, you're going to feel kind of low, but I don't want you to lose your footing in such a way that you don't recognize that, you know, where you forget that you don't know how to act accordingly. Of course you do. Of course you know how to act appropriately to that situation, right? Your opposite is Libra. You're actually better at it than they are in certain aspects, you know? So just remember that it may be doing that, and I guess just touch, you know, take note and check in when you're feeling low. Like, what just happened? What were you thinking about? You know, what were you just thinking about? What are you spending time thinking about? 10 of Pentacles just flew out. You know, it's important. It may seem silly, but really checking in and having a place of gratitude and open-mindedness to all it is that you do have. You know, we are very, particularly here in the States, but I think just about everywhere, but here in the States, we're pretty lucky. You know, anyone who says that they don't live a privileged, you know, that they're disadvantaged, well, that's pretty much a lie. You know, We have freedom of speech. You know, we're able to carry our own, you know, have guns. We're able to protect ourselves. We're able to choose, you know. There's a lot of wonderful opportunities. Yes, you know, economically things can be kind of whatever they are, but we also live in a place, most folks, where we have an opportunity to make our lives whatever it is that we want. And whatever those plans are, I see that, you know, you got to be realistic about those plans and keep positive about them. And if you do, then you'll have higher likelihood of achieving them. And what will really help that move forward is checking in and being like, okay, do I have any fears that are stopping me from achieving this? You know, do I have anything that I'm still connected to that I need to assess? You know, because sometimes, and somebody else got this, but it's like imagination can be so the power of the mind is so important. You know, it's so important, and it can really, you know, the imagination can go all sorts of places. So it's really important to keep it in the positive, because that's how we accidentally manifest things sometimes that we don't even want. You know, you want to really check in and be like, okay, what is it that I want? And what do I need to do? What do I need to rearrange to be able to have that happen? Okay? All right, I love you so much, Aries. I'll talk to you later. Peace out.